approximately 10 million people, or just over 63% of the population, are aged between 15 and 34. And this skewed population distribution means that as the country's economic woes deepen, young people feel it the most. As the election approaches, Weekend Report has created a platform for young leaders to present their views of the challenges that are faced by the youth and, of course, how they imagine the future of South Africa. So joining me in studio now are Rise Mzansi Youth Convener Lawrence Manaka and Build One South Africa Youth Leader Henry Masuku. Thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having us.
So, Lawrence, I'll begin with you. You are a grassroots education and political activist with a passion for youth empowerment. Tell me, what are the challenges facing our youth as you see it?
Yeah, once more, good morning, and thank you for having me. So I think one of the biggest challenges that is facing young people in South Africa, number one, is unemployment. Number two is education, as we have seen it, right? So what we have seen as Rise and Zanzi when we're going to the different communities and speaking to people is that we've heard people saying that, you know, the 35 age cap actually disadvantages them. That's number one. But we've also had young people saying that even though we are under the age of 35, we are unable to actually get employment. When you now go into the basic education sector, we have the norms and standards of school infrastructure that are still not being implemented to this state, right? So this means that you are then seeing a lack of political will from the political leaders. Because tell me, why is it that in Ivory Park you have learners that are 95 in one class instead of 1:30? So those are some of the challenges that young people are facing. It does not only end in the basic education, but as you go into the higher education, young people are then excluded because they do not have money to pay for fees. And when NSFAS is supposed to come in, we've seen NSFAS actually struggle, and to a certain extent, some might even say that NSFAS is actually crumbling. Because I was at CPUT sometime this year, and students were literally sleeping outside, and we had to intervene and speak to the management to try and get students in. And we continue to see students that actually continue to go hungry. And hence, we as Rise and Zanzi have also come forth and ensured that we do a one meal, one student campaign. All
right, we're going to engage on those solutions in just a second. I'd like to know from you, Lawrence, Henry. So when it comes to young people, I mean, there is, as Henry has as Lawrence has indicated, that there is some sort of voter apathy. Now, especially amongst young people, to what would you attribute this?
Look, good morning, Masechaba, and good morning to your viewers at home. I wouldn't exactly say it's apathy. Masechaba, you are dealing with a group of people that is frustrated. You are dealing with the Dintswalos. The Dintswalos that the president tried to represent in the State of the Nation address. He misrepresented them. This is the group of people that was born just post-94. They have seen their parents, they have seen their uncles go out to vote at least for 6 consecutive elections now. Yet they still live in the same house that was built by the apartheid government in Soweto, and that house has not been renovated. This is a frustrated group of people. This is a group of people that has not seen change that they wish for. So it's not apathy in that sense. It's just that they have not seen any change at all happen in their lifetime, and they are just disillusioned to say, how exactly is my vote going to change anything? So let me just stay away from the democratic process. So yes, it's a very sad state of affairs in our country, to a point that our young people are not seeing leadership. They're not seeing a government that can deliver, and even with the new ones, they're not seeing anyone that inspires them to actually be involved in the politics of the country.
Where is the government failing the youth?
Of course, as Lawrence says, unemployment is one of the biggest issues that we have. He points out on education, one of the biggest issues that we have. Safety in our communities. Our people are not safe. At least 73 people are dying today as we speak because people are not safe. You know, even those that have bothered to go get an education, get a degree, I have many of them that are unemployed, more than 3 years unemployed post-graduation at this point. The government has no will, no zeal to actually expand our economy to take care of its own people. That's why as Build One South Africa, we come in, we say, we must try and make sure that we can put a job in every home, because we need to restore the dignity of the people of this country. And we think that by putting a job in every home, we will be able to restore this dignity.
I want to come to you to tell me exactly how you intend to do that. But Lawrence, you also spoke of political will. What is your plan as Rise Mzansi? How do you intend to tackle the issues of unemployment and education?
Yeah, so first, Before I come in on that point, I think there's something that I disagree that Henry here, tries to outline. I don't think there's basically any voter apathy or disillusionment of the youth, because you see young people actually being very much involved in civil society. That says something about young people and wanting to be involved in this democracy, right? I myself come from civil society, and I know a lot of other young people who've said that I'm not going to be involved in mainstream politics, but I'm going to go and influence policy. So young people are very much active. It's just that they do not have a voice at these political parties, and therefore they do not see a need to be very much present at these political parties. But as Rise Mzansi, on how we go and fix this unemployment issue, as Rise Mzansi, we clearly spell out that we're going to ensure that we create a package that is going to help young people essentially go seek work. We're not going to be giving them 350 because frankly they do not do anything and that they do not even meet the poverty line. But we're going to create a scheme that ensures that it helps you to go find work, and as soon as you're done, it has to be rolled on unto the next person, right? But you do not just start there. You start by ensuring that you flush out the corruption in the system, because truly we do need new leaders, because the leaders that we have right now are corrupt. You flush out the corruption in the system, and as soon as you're done with doing that, you then ensure that you make the economy conducive, because when you have the right leaders, the leaders that are not cadre deployed, but the leaders that people have chosen themselves and are also technocrats, you are then able to fix and ensure that this economy is conducive enough in order for business to take place, so that government alone is not the one that is creating employment. In terms of education, you want to be able to uphold that. You want to be able to ensure that you actually fix and make sure that you implement the norms and standards of school infrastructure, because they tell us how does a school look like in order for it to be a school. And as soon as you are done with that problem, you ensure that all learners can now go and graduate matric, because you don't have learners falling through the cracks. And as soon as that is done, you then ensure that you also fix the higher education by ensuring that NSFAS is fit for purpose, but most importantly, you get rid of the current minister that we have that has been lying to the public and saying that NSFAS is actually healthy, while we know that NSFAS is actually crumbling.
So now I want to come to you, Henry. Lawrence seems to be alluding to the fact that yourselves as Boza may be tone deaf when it comes to young people's needs at this point in time. What is your plan to engage young people and to bring them on board in the process, especially in the build-up to the 2024 elections?
Masechaba, that is simply untrue. We have engaged young people in different communities, and we continue to do so, especially in this election season. We have spoken to our people, and we understand exactly what needs to happen. Young people in rural areas and also in townships, they want us to rejuvenate the township economy. They want us to rejuvenate the economy in the rural areas. And how do we do that? We need to make sure that we can fix the infrastructure in the townships. We can fix safety in the townships. We can partner with businesses to bring them back to invest in the townships and also in the rural areas. That will broaden the economy, allowing space for people to start businesses if they are starting businesses. And also it will allow them space to work closer to home. Because you would understand that having to wake up in the morning from Soweto to go and work in Sandton, first of all, with the minimum wage, it's not enough for you to get to work, right? And then you're also not able to take care of your family. But more than that, the economy that we live in now is a digital economy. So we want to make sure that we can set up infrastructure in townships and also in rural areas, ICT infrastructure, so that people are able to trade online and actually work online and make money from online. So we just want to make sure that there is safety in the townships. Road infrastructure is rejuvenated to make sure that there is in and out of goods. There is also ICT infrastructure in the townships. And the big question now would be the how, because it's all well and good to say we would like to, do X, Y, and Z, but how do you intend on achieving these goals? Masechaba, let's start with safety, for instance. What would you do differently? We speak so much of community policing forums. They are there, but they're not enough. They're not capacitated enough. So we need to capacitate community policing forums. That will bring down policing from depending on the SAPS, but rather letting communities police themselves. That will make it easier for crime to be caught right with the communities. That will make it easier for people to report crime and be responded to immediately. That's number one. So capacitate community policing forums, and then make sure that even the station commander from a community must come from that particular community, not the station commander from Sandton working in Dobsonville. So we must have them within the community where they live in. That's on safety. Road infrastructure, there is public works. There is EPWP, the people that are repairing streets in the townships. But they are simply not capacitated enough. We must make sure that program becomes revitalized, rejuvenated, to make sure that it becomes effective. Let's patch the potholes. Let's rebuild the roads that are there in the townships that are broken. And that's just some of the things that we are going to do. All right. And I'd like you to talk to me, Lawrence, about the role of education in especially alleviating the high levels of crime in South Africa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Masechaba, once more. I think, so, look, you can write a manifesto and propose solutions and everything else, right? But if you do not do the right root cause analysis, you're getting it wrong. As Rise and Zanzi is saying, the first step to doing all of the stuff that Henry's outlining here and what I've said is by getting new leaders who are ethical, right? Education now. Education is quite important in this country, and as you've seen it, and as you see around here, most of us, I can say, around this table have actually had to go through some form of education in order to ensure that we actually get to the other side, right? So if we do not invest in education as South Africans or as this South African government, and we continue to impose austerity measures and taking money away from education, we're going to continue to see a crumbling nation, because number one, you're going to ensure that there's a mismatch essentially between skills and the jobs, basically, right? So you need to ensure that you pour into education, you need to ensure that you pour into higher education more than anything, because you want to be able to produce good teachers that are going to go and teach in schools that are not overcrowded. You need to be able to ensure that you pour into higher education so that students do not go hungry, because the truth is, even the 1.5 that is given to these students, or 1.6 that is given to these students, that money goes as far as feeding their different families. But the crux of the matter is, if we want this country to work, we need to ensure that young people actually have a seat at this table. And as Rise and Zanzi, we've done that well, because Rise and Zanzi does not have a youth league. In fact, Rise and Zanzi has brought everyone to the same table. And in fact, I'm actually one of the youngest candidates of Rise and Zanzi on that party list. This is to show and to signal that young people are actually important in this country, and young people have a voice in this country. And how we start by fixing it is by getting grassroots people who've been through the struggle, who've been through the different activist spaces, to actually be the ones who are coming to shaping policy and listening to people.
I'd like to come back to you to give you an opportunity to expand on that in your closing statement. But just in closing, Henry, why should people vote for BOSA, and what is your role as the BOSA Youth League leadership?
My role is to mobilize young people in different spaces to make sure that young people become more engaged with the politics of our country, because we do realize that young people have, to some degree, decided not to participate because they have not seen any rewards for the democracy that we live in. My role is to make sure that we encourage these young people to come out, particularly in these elections. Come out and vote for the change that you want to see. Come out and vote for credible leadership. When we speak Build One South Africa, we speak of credible leadership. We have Mose Memane, who is the party leader, and we can all attest to the fact that he led one of the best governments when he was still the leader of the biggest opposition in South Africa. And we have our list consists of many other leaders who are credible, who have a proven track record in what they have done, and we can attest to this fact. I am one of the youngest people also in the party list of Build One South Africa, so we promote young people participating in the politics of their country, and we will continue to do so.
Thank you very much, Henry. Lawrence, why should people vote for Rise and Mzansi, especially young people?
Yeah. Young people should go and vote for Rise and Zanzi, because Rise and Zanzi does not see them as a subsidiary structure that is out there to go and get votes. Number one, it values them and it understands that they're important. When you look at our national leadership collective, it's all young people, with the exception of a few people, right? Because we understand that there's a need for us to bridge the intergenerational gap more than anything. Like I've said, I'm the youngest. By youngest, I mean that I'm 21 and I'm on that party list that is going to parliament. And this is why, frankly, young people should go and vote for Rise and Zanzi, because young people are seen taking up space, they're seen leading, and this is young people that actually have a track record. They do not just emerge from somewhere else. They were seen in civil society. They were seen at the different spaces where they were building and contributing to policy. But most importantly, we need new leaders, and that is why young people should go and vote for leaders who represent them, that are not just written behind closed doors, but leaders that they chose themselves through a process that we created as Rising Zanzi.
Gentlemen, thank you both so much, and all of the best in the race. May the best man win.
Thank you so much.
All right. Those are Rise Mzansi Youth Convener, excuse me, Lawrence Manaka, as well as Build One South Africa Youth Leader Henry Masuku. This is just the start of a series of conversations that we are going to be having right here on the Weekend Report with Youth League leadership. Join the conversation on our X page. It's at Newzroom 405. What are your thoughts? Really, it really is all up to you. Let us know what you think.